You are watching the Teresa Lusk Show, where faith meets freedom and your voice is heard. Well, the Supreme Court rejected attempts to restrict the abortion pill. This situation has been linked mostly to conservatives and the Republican Party. The problem is that we have such a high number of women who end up aborting, and there are many different aspects that are not being considered. While the Republican Party has been seemingly made out to be as the party that does not care about women, I can assure you, as a conservative and Republican voter myself, I do care about women. I am a woman after all. The problem is that a lot of women understand the situations that they're getting into before getting pregnant. One of the problems that we have in America today is that we are allowing people to feel entitled to taking the life of a little being because they made a selfish decision. Now, I understand that things happen, but the thing is that abortion and the reason why people get an abortion is not something that came by surprise. When somebody gets pregnant, it didn't come by surprise. It is not a sickness. It's not a disease. It's usually a product of choice. Now, I understand that there are some exceptions, and I wholly respect those exceptions. I am not talking about those. I am referencing to those where a woman and a man meet, and they make a decision, a careless one, and then we have the result of an unwanted pregnancy. Now, one of the issues I have with the pro-abortion movement, regardless of whether you're on the right or left, because the truth is, there are people on the right who support abortion. The problem is that a lot of women go have an abortion and they do not have to notify the father. Now, in America, I believe that the father has just as much right as the mother to have a say-so. So why are we in this predicament? How many men have the right to say, I did not want my child aborted? He didn't have an opportunity to say, I would like to raise the child, or I would like to at least consider giving my child up for adoption instead of taking their life. That's one thing. The next thing is education. I think we need to start educating a lot more. I realize that there are nonprofit organizations and other faith organizations that really focus on talking about what the baby looks like as the baby is growing and it's developing week by week, month by month. But the thing is, when most people gladly have an abortion, they're not necessarily thinking of somebody else. Sometimes we have to put things into greater perspective. For instance, going ahead and maybe running some ads that talk about the woman's health. What might happen to you after an abortion? What are the risks of you experiencing some kind of depression? What about your body? What happens after an abortion happens, after you're scraped out, after a living being is removed out of your body? What is happening to you? What about the inability to have children in the future? Those are some things that we can focus on regarding education. Another thing we need to focus on is that we need to stop calling abortion rights reproductive freedom. Listen, reproductive means that you are going to produce and multiply. It means that you're going to have children. So let's stop calling it reproductive freedom. It's not reproductive. It is abortion rights. That is what those who push for this are looking for. So we need to have some honest conversations, honest vocabulary as we deal with this issue. But we must also understand that the Republicans and conservative party are not necessarily trying to keep people from making the choices that they want. Do you remember the left? They were very readily available to tell you when you should get your COVID shot, while many on the right, conservatives, did not believe in the shot, right? This is where my body, my choice came in. Well, it's the same thing. People use the phrase on both sides of the aisle. Abortion is a serious matter. It affects more than just taking a child's life, an unborn baby's life. It affects the mother's life. It affects her well-being in the future. It affects her mental health. And we, both on the left and the right, need to begin to protect women. We need to be the parties that protect women, that look after her future, not just her present. And what about when we push for pro-life, but we have not done enough to make adoption available, financially available? This is the time where there is a big fight for policy, for morality, for each other's views on things. Now is the time to begin to set up a movement that if we want to be the party that cares about life, then that has to include the woman's life. That has to include the future, what holds for her. I realize that a lot of women make their own choices. Let's remember, she didn't make the choice on her own. However, now is the time to begin to find solutions so that as a party of life, we can make sure that we make it available for people to save an unborn child's life and be able to make adoption available. This has been your news report with Teresa Lusk.